Welcome everyone to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. It is week number 11 of the Advanced Mazda MX-5 Cup Series presented by Heusinkveld. Week 11, the second to last race of this season. It's not even the standard course either. It is the, I believe, the moto layout here for this afternoon, but this is going to be a very challenging track. Another track with more elevation for these drivers to battle, as if they've already haven't had enough with VIR last week, and now this week they have to deal with Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. This is the one deviation that we have you see on your screen. It's going to be bypassing that little short chute, if you will. And then you can see what these drivers will have to deal with here as they will be coming down the back straight into, I believe, turn number 6 in this instance. So this will be absolutely amazing to watch. Let's go ahead and take a look at the schedule that we've had so far this season and where we've come from and where we are heading to for the next next race, I should say. But all the way from the start of the season, we had Lime Rock Park with Michael Foltz winning that. We didn't make that broadcast, but Michael Foltz did win that one. Then we had Watkins Glen, where we joined in, seeing Sven Hielhode win that fantastic race at the boot configuration, where it rained in about the last 4 minutes of the race. Those drivers just about keeping it together in the final few minutes. Then Canadian Tire Motorsport Park with Mosport had Nicholas Shepard victorious to end out the month of June. And then we moved on to Australia for the Bend, where Joe Holmes had won that week for very dominating fashion, pretty much set sail and moved on from there. John Mill III won at Road America, the 5th driver to win in the season. And then since then, from Brands Hatch all the way to VIR last week, it has been all Nicholas Shepard. No matter what, there have been some contenders still hovering around the top 10 or the top 5, top 3, if you will. There's been common names around the top 3, but since then, it just has not, no one's really been able to fully, stay ahead of Nicholas Shepard is one way to put that, as we take a look at the schedule coming into this week. Next week, we close out the season at Orem Park Raceway, but that is going to be something to look ahead for once we finish up qualifying here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. And go ahead and take a look and see where everybody's at in terms of qualifying times, because right now I believe we're just missing only one driver. No, 2 drivers to start qualifying time, so we might be going a little bit early. We'll see how things fare here. But at the moment, I believe we are going to be going early. But let's go ahead and wait just a couple moments, because right now, if we go to our live pictures, let's see that Michael Coates and Nicholas Shepard are both currently running laps right now. Nicholas Shepard currently running on his 2nd lap, I believe. No, he's actually completed his 2nd lap, so he's just running some extra qualifying laps. Same with Michael Coates. The driver that is currently running a lap and is about to finish up his lap is Logan Sennhauser, who moves up from 21st to the 18th spot. Let's go ahead and take a look while we still have the chance at your starting grid. John Miller III with a shock, I wouldn't say shock podium, a shock pole position. That's a better way to phrase that. I need to try and find my headphones so I can hear everything, making sure everything is working properly. But John Miller III with a podium position for the 2nd time this season in a technical sense, but with a pole position. I'm never going to not get that confused, with Nicholas Shepard starring alongside him. Charles Wolfe not too far behind in 3rd place, a 137.7 flat. Then we have Tony Wallace starting off in the 4th place position. Jesse Gonzalez rounds out the top 5 positions. Starting in 6th place will be Tom Sanders. 7th place holds Matt Mullins. 8th place will be Matthew Bartlett. 9th place is Ian Bertolucci, and 10th place is being rounded out by Reed Shannonbrook. Michael Coates will start off in the 11th place position. 12th place is Frankie Sugamelli. 13th place holds Christopher Paez. Daniel DeLiberti starts off 14th. 15th place is Matt Burgess. 16th place, Mark Kruger. 17th place is Kevin Kramer. 18th place, who we just saw finish up his qualifying time, is Logan Senhauser. And then 19th through 21st are the last drivers to set a qualifying time, where Aaron Reynolds and Justin Reynolds, wonder if they're related, they probably are. They start off in 19th and 20th. Jacob Moroz, probably mispronouncing that, but Jacob Moroz starts off in 21st. 22nd is Jean-Francois St. Pierre, and John Myers start off in 23rd. The only last two drivers to not set a qualifying time for this race. As we look over to the starting grid here, all these drivers lining up, it is a left side start for the pole position. So not exactly the best advantage, if you will, but all eyes will be up on the flag stand. We'll see how things will fare, how these drivers will take the run down towards the hairpin. Everything is going to be, everyone's going to be on edge here. Just a few drivers left to start off, to set themselves up on the grid. Just two drivers left, one driver left. As we wait, we have 30 minutes on the clock as per usual. No change. It will be 30 minutes, and then once we get to the point where we need the white flag, we will throw that, and that's going to be under the amount of time that these drivers will run. So once that zero timer hits, it's effectively an automatic white flag. And then, well, if the driver's already on a lap, it will be the checkered flag. Waiting for one more driver to grid, potentially setting up a final, making some final setup changes. That is the number 9 of Michael Coates. He hasn't really missed the grid, I don't believe, before. Now, it seems like this might be a first because Michael Coates has not gridded. He has not made the grid. Oh, there we go. Right at the last second, he makes the grid. That means all eyes are up on the flag stand for the drivers, up on the lights for you on the screen. And as the revs rise, we go racing here at Mid-Ohio. Plumes of smoke from all these drivers as they'll charge their way down into turn 1. Nicholas Shepard immediately covers off Charles Wolfe, and it's going to be the top 3 as they make their way down into turn number 1. Position swapping further back, but everyone single file, no mayhem off in the back. Here we go into the bypassing section here, and you can see just how much of a deviation it is as they make their way through into the hairpin, not carrying as much speed as they may be expecting. So a little bit of a challenge for these drivers in terms of car control. Miller leads. Second place, Shepard. Charles Wolfe still third. Fourth and fifth have swapped positions. So Jesse Gonzalez and Tony Wallace have swapped positions from where they had started. It's a battle side by side between Jacob Mraz and Logan Senhauser, as multiple drivers will be trying to make their way through. They stay single file up ahead, so it's going to be these two for the first battle on the track. First on the brakes, I think, is Senhauser, but Mraz carries it around the outside. He'll have the preferred lane here, and he retains that 17th place position. No, he spins too fast on the throttle. Just a bit of contact, and that collects. Oh no, that's Jean-Francois St. Pierre. He is out already. More bad luck. And I remember he was involved in a first lap incident at Brands Hatch, at least in the opening laps of Brands Hatch, and the curse strikes him once again. I believe Mraz may have just hit the throttle a bit too early, and the elevation change upset the car, so that lack of grip had pretty much unsettled the car. And well, all said and done, we saw that as it happened. Here's Michael Coates and Reed Schenenbrock side by side. Reed will drag race Coates to the line, and at the line, 10th place goes to Schenenbrock. But who's going to be first on the brakes? I think it was Schenenbrock, but look at this. Around the outside comes Michael Coates, and he'll try and hang it around the outside. And he's going to be playing up that fight for that last spot in the 10th place position. They stay side by side still. Preferred lane for Schenenbrock here, but can he carry the momentum? No. Coates stays alongside. I think a little bit of a slide from Schenenbrock, but they still stay side by side. And now with that momentum on the exit of the hairpin is Coates back up in the top 10. Schenenbrock drifted wide on the exit. That's going to leave Christopher Pies up in the 11th place spot now. And Shanbrock will be battling between Frankie Sugamelli, as we have a pass for the lead just up ahead in the braking zone. It is Nicholas Shepard up to first place. We still have yet to get a 6th driver winning on this season, a 6th win on the season, a sixth unique winner, there we go, on the win for the season, as Shannon Brock gets a little bit loose. Almost had the exact same issue that Miraz did. Yeah, it's pretty much an immediate tow and immediate leave to the garage for Jean-Francois. We saw that as it happened. So no replay in this instance, as, Coates, I think, was a little bit off the track. Same for Reed in the number 17. Everyone does stay single file as we move back up to the lead, taking a look at Nicholas Shepard, who is about to set sail here. John Miller going to be defending against Wolf here in that number 11 machine. I'm thinking back to last week, I believe, when Wolf wasn't number 13, but Jesse Gonzalez lurking here in the background, in the not-too-distant background. In fact, he's directly in the mirrors of the number 11 machine of Charles Wolf, so Gonzalez might have something to say here for the podium spots. As we take a look from up above, let's go ahead and look back through the field, see what the closest battle that we have is. Technically, it could be between Sugamelli and Shannonbrock here. Sugamelli in that number 14, Shannonbrock in the 17. Technically, the closest battle on track, if not at least the smallest gap between two drivers on the track, more accurately. Top 10 have a little bit of a separation between, well, the top 9, and then the top 10 are a little bit on their own. Saw on the top of the screen there that Matt Burgess was trying to go all over the back bumper of Daniel DiLiberti. He's trying to find a way past, but nothing doing as of yet. But Shannonbrock has caught back up a little bit closer to Sugamelli. Shannonbrock did qualify in 10th place, so a lot of these drivers are going to be battling for the 11th place spot here as this race continues on. Already 25 minutes left. Just like that, you blink and you miss it, and suddenly, next thing you know, it's going to be about halfway on about 15 minutes time, but 10 minutes time more accurately, but you don't really recognize that once this race is going on. Let's ride on board with Jesse Gonzalez for a lap here around, oh, wait a minute, let's not ride along board for a moment because Michael Coates has a black flag. What is happening with Coates? Does he not have another issue? It wouldn't be the first time that he's had some sort of an issue. He had another issue last week, or a couple weeks ago at Road America. Nope, Road Atlanta. It's one of the two. I'm never getting those right. It's always a default for me to get those two confused. I know which track is different. It was Road Atlanta with the short configuration. Road America is the one that has a lot of runoff, Canada corner, etc., that we did do as well this season. So it's been a lot of fun getting those confused first off. But Road Atlanta is when Michael Coates had issues, and apparently this week it's also enough for him to immediately go to the garage, as he is in the virtual garage. He has left the car, so it is pretty much day done for Michael Coates, which is genuinely unfortunate for Coates. Not the thing that he must have wanted, but we'll see how things fare for him next week. In the meantime, we'll see if we can try and find a proper point to ride on board here. We have the entire top 9. Here's the end of the top 9. It is Matthew Bartlett here in the 9th place spot. And look at this. Just all of these drivers are all within striking distance of each other. Give or take a few seconds, or give or take 1 second if you're Nicholas Shepard. But in the case of Matthew Bartlett, let's go ahead and ride on board. Well, we'll wait. We'll see. Let's go and ride on board this number 6 machine to see what we see around the Mid-Ohio Sports Car course here. You can see how much these drivers are wheeling the cars as well in these last few corners. You can hear just how much of a how much control they're trying to string together at the same time. It's getting a little bit more hectic for about the third place spot. It looks like Jesse Gonzalez is going to try and make show the nose on Charles Wolf, but not able to put axle to axle in this sense. No way to put the front axle to the rear axle of Wolf to line up and try and get something in the braking zone, but this could be his best shot for Gonzalez here. We'll see. We do have a long ways to go. 21 minutes back to the racing line goes Gonzalez. Tracking up a little bit of dirt. Here comes Ian Bertolucci, maybe trying to make a move on Matt Mullins, but nothing there. At least on the entry of the corner. Looked to be maybe a switchback incoming, but Mullins just absolutely doing a fantastic job of keeping that car on the defensive line, on the apex. Not giving Bertolucci any sort of breathing room. Let's go ahead and go back to the 10th place spot. Sugamelli and Paez battling amongst themselves for the 10th place spot. Last spot in the top 10. A little bit earlier, it was a little bit of no man's land for a couple drivers, but looks to be the different case now as Sugamelli not able to capitalize here in this braking zone. Which Jacob Miraz has lost a couple positions, I believe, at least one position, and have gone off track again. Justin Reynolds sitting behind him, ready to strike in case anything does happen to Miraz. Just like that, 20 minutes left. We're just about under that. And Sugamelli is using all of the turn 1 section. And Matt Burgess using all the turn 1 exit, apparently, in the background there. Tracking out a little bit wide already. A little bit of front end damage on his car. No doubt from bump drafting a couple drivers down the long straightaway here that these drivers will be going down momentarily. Right now it's Sugamelli and Paez sitting 11th and 10th respectively. I'm keeping an eye on the top 9 effectively. No change for position as of yet. And both drivers effectively braking at the same time. As we do have a change of position just up ahead. And it's going to be for the 4th place spot. Tom Sanders, tired of waiting, is going to try and get by Jesse Gonzalez. We almost have a 3-way battle here. In fact, we do, because this will bring Tony Wallace in. Gonzalez goes defensive. Wallace might try and make a move here. Tom Sanders up to 4th. Jesse Gonzalez down to 5th. 6th place, Tony Wallace with Matt Mullins quite literally right on the back bumper. Let's go and take a look and see what had facilitated that pass in the first place. Gonzalez in the number 5. Not just Tom Sanders has way more momentum there. He's able to place the car there. Ooh, a little bit of hip and shoulder, if you will. But what a absolutely fantastic capitalization. And only a little bit of a scratch of a paint to show for all that. Right now, Nicholas Shepard has continued to set sail. 1.3 second gap, so not too much of an advantage compared to earlier, where he did set sail for pretty much right off the start. Once he got in front of John Miller, he just went. But now that gap might be starting to come back. Last lap times, it was about a 1/10 of a second faster. Technically about 0.08 of a second faster was John Miller. And Charles Wolf not too far behind. He was in between both. In terms of lap times, he was in between both John Miller and Nicholas Shepard. In fact, we can bring up the previous lap times of these drivers there on the left-hand side of your screen. And those all update at the start-finish line. So good timing, because guess who's about to cross the start-finish line here momentarily? It is Nicholas Shepard, who's just gained 0.2 of a second on Miller. So across the line goes Shepard, Miller, Wolf, Sanders, starting to set his sights on the podium spots. As the lap times start to update and come in, you can see the swing that we have there. Shepard has a 138.239 and a 138.535. And Charles Wolf with the 138.3 flat. Matt Burgess also with a 139 flat. Absolutely fantastic. Within all of the possibilities of the lap times I could come across the start-finish line, I've seen quite a lot of lap times ending in point something 00 or just 0.000. So the fact that's happened, maybe, when I've noticed at least 3 times so far, this race is absolutely fascinating. Frankie Sugamelli and Matt Burgess have swapped positions for the 10th place spot. Matt Burgess starting to sneak his way in, and of course, right when we look away, it's going to be Charles Wolf around the outside of John Miller here. We saw the move that was going to be trying to, we saw the attempted pass earlier. In fact, the pass that was successful earlier from Tom Sanders, but it was on the inside for the advantage. And speaking of Tom Sanders, this is going to bring him into the battle. A little bit of hip and shoulder again from Miller to Wolf. Sanders is brought into this battle. And just like that, the top 3, well, second, third, and fourth are all now 3 seconds behind. And after all that, Miller still comes out on top, at least in second place, considering, but on top in this battle. But this has brought in everybody else from the top 9, who were once spread out. Who I thought Sanders was going to try and show the nose there, maybe make a move, but nothing into this section just yet. Can't really do anything into the hairpin here, but out of the hairpin is very possible. Well, no positions changed once we had crossed the start-finish line. And, oh, by the way, we're 15 minutes left, or just under that. Look at this. Tom Sanders could be a sleeper here for the podium. He's going to go for it right here. Sanders sends the car inside, just scrapes the right-hand side of Wolf's car, but just hangs it around the outside. Not able to capitalize, but he was there. More confident on the brakes. You could tell from the body language of the car that Sanders is itching. He's right there. He sees it. It's possible. It's a matter of capitalizing quickly, though, on this, because these next 15 minutes, well, 14 minutes, are going to go by in the blink of an eye, quite literally. And after out of all this, still leading is Nicholas Shepard, in line for a 6th in a row, 7th win on the season. With how these drivers are battling, you'd think they would be battling for the first place spot, but no, it's for second place. So all these drivers still in line from second all the way down to 9th place. Matthew Bartlett still just hanging around on the back end of this group. Sanders tries to make a move, I believe, on Charles Wolf. Not able to make a move there, though. As everyone snakes through, single file. Another attempt could be upcoming here. If I was Charles, I would go a little bit defensive here. Maybe try and force Sanders offline. Make him a little bit uncomfortable to make the move. In the case of Wolf, he's already in the spot. He's already in the podium spot, so we'll see. Does Sanders try and go for it again? No, Charles Wolf goes for it instead. Can't quite get there, though. He did show the nose to John Miller. And look at this. Around the outside is Matthew Bartlett. A little bit tired of waiting is the number 6 machine. A little bit of contact is made. Miller is spun off from second place at the same time that the battle between Bartlett was happening. And Bartlett's going to try and capitalize, see if he can swing around the outside of Mullins. Will he try for a switchback or will he stay in line? It's the latter. He will stay in line. Of course, we look away for 2 seconds and something happens. The curse of broadcasting. Let's see, what happened with John Miller, though? Unless it was an advantageous move, I would say it's a little bit out of character for Charles, and it's not the elevation. No, still in line, still there. Oh, man. That's unfortunate. Oh, wow. Look at the avoidance by Ian Bertolucci, though. Absolutely fantastic. We'll do the one more. Just ride along and listen. Oh, if there was contact between Bertolucci and Bartlett, it seemed like there was. I want to drift to get back on track, too. That technically saved Bertolucci there, so he got very, very lucky. Speaking of being lucky, Tom Sanders could be in line for a second-place spot. He'll go to the racing line here, around the outside, tries to just hang it around, take away the racing line from Charles Wolfe for this corner, but not going to be the case there. But he is there. He is showing the nose multiple times. He's saying, hey, don't forget, I am right here. And Jesse Gonzalez in 4th place could be looking at a podium spot as well. I believe the second time that we've seen Gonzalez here for the specifically the broadcast splits, if not the third time. But regardless, still lining for a podium spot. And throughout all this, somebody who's just having a nice little Sunday drive, or Monday evening drive, or time zone, is Nicholas Shepard, just a casual 6.5 seconds ahead. And there is the battle for second place between, well, second to what is now 7th. Again, just because Shepard is this far ahead doesn't mean he is immune to making mistakes. So we'll see how things fare. The race is not over until it's over, and the battle for second place is not over just like that. What a move by Tom Sanders in a spot that I didn't think it would be possible to make a move. Sanders had just launched himself around the outside of Charles Wolfe, nipped through on the regular racing line's apex there through the left-hander, and then just snuck ahead of Charles Wolfe there. So what a fantastic pass by Sanders. I don't think down to this braking zone here would be the most reasonable and most common place to make a move, but Sanders is saying, no, I'm going to invent a new place to overtake. We've seen how that fared. I figured Sanders would just hang around the outside, but that was indeed not the case. He not only hung around the outside, but he launched his car around the outside. Don't count out Jesse Gonzalez. Don't count out Tony Wallace, Matt Mullins, or Matthew Bartlett either. There's Ian Bertolucci at the tail end of this pack with John Miller III and 9th, but anything can and will happen. We have seen that quite a bit. Road America specifically, where the top two were battling, made some contact amongst themselves, and then John Miller, who was 3rd, happened to appear in 1st place by the exit of the Speedville corner. So, not everything is all said and done here until that checkered flag falls. Now, the one thing I'm wondering, is Jesse Gonzalez going to try and do the same thing? Nope, he's not going to be able to because that lane is immediately closed off by Charles Wolfe. Although, if I was Gonzalez, I would be thinking, well, let's see, that pass worked here. Could I do that exact same thing on the exact same person? He's not able to make a move that time by. So, for now, 2nd through 7th all in the same shot. They will remain single file. Could Gonzalez go for a move here, or will Wolfe go defensive? Partially defensive for Wolfe, and half showing the nose to Tom Sanders, mid-corner there. A little bit of a wider line from Charles Wolfe, though. In fact, so wide of a line, he's just tracking the left side tires through the grass. That's going to set him up for, I was going to say, maybe getting passed by Gonzalez, but Charles Wolfe somehow able to stay ahead of these 4 other drivers. He's absolutely battling for his life here for the 3rd and final spot on the podium. Tom Sanders, let's not count him out. Still 2nd place, could still potentially make a mistake. Same goes for Nicholas Shepard. That's always the case in racing. But at least for the time being, as they'll try and break the slipstream here. at least for the time being. It is still Shepard, Sanders, Wolf, Gonzalez, and Wallace. And oh, by the way, Jesse Gonzalez, who started in 5th and got by Tony Wallace pretty much right at the start, they've still remained in that configuration, that positioning, basically. Pretty much ever since the start of this race. All right, here, look at the body language of the car. Directly behind and closer than ever is Jesse Gonzalez. Will he go around the outside or will he try and shove the nose to the inside lane? He's showing the nose to the outside. Will he try and go for a switchback, though? Decides against making a move here into the corner. May have backed out just a little bit. I do not blame him. He thinks that's... I won't be surprised if he is deciding to wait for the last lap, but sometimes it's always... it's not always the best case to wait for a pass in the final lap. Sometimes you just have to go and hope that the driver chasing you down, that you passed, will be trying to go for it. And a few drivers have crashed in the back. It is Kevin Kramer and Frankie Sugamelli. What has happened between these two? Sugamelli there in the number 14. Swings back around. Oh, no. Oh, and just nowhere to go for Kramer. And that was Matt Burgess there as well. And then just nowhere to go for Kevin Kramer there. Just a little bit of a slower run through the corner than expected for from Matt Burgess to Frankie Sugamelli, no doubt. I see the missing front bumper being the cost of that. Still running 13th though, so could still be in line for a pretty solid finishing position depending on what happens here in these last few laps. So Shepard continues to lead with about a 7.2 second gap. Tom Sanders sits in second. Only about 6.5, if not 7 tenths ahead of Charles Wolf, who is currently trying to... Oh, wait a minute. Sanders slid quite a significant amount there, I think, actually. He's lost a tenth or two to Charles Wolf there, so I was about to say this could be just a battle for the third place spot, but no, that battle for second might be back on here, and I'm pretty sure that 11 knows that this battle is indeed back on. The elevation change not as drastic effectively as Virginia from last week, but still definitely plays a little bit of a part. As many elevation changes, I should say, but quite similar elevation changes with the hills. Ooh, I think Gonzalez did go a little bit wide there. He did. The car tracked a little bit wider than what should be the most ideal line, but still in striking distance. Still chasing down Charles. When is he going to capitalize, though? That's the real question, because next time by, it will be 2 laps to go. These drivers are doing about 1 minute 38 second laps, so next time by for sure, 2 laps left. As this battle for what could be third turn into a battle for second place. Sanders still trying to keep that distance between himself and Charles Wolf. He's still pulling that off right now. It's about 6.5 tenths of a second gap still. Could Gonzalez try and go for a move here? Will he go for the next lap? It all depends on what he has in mind. Tony Wallace is also in the background, just doing his best to sit out ahead of Matt Mullins and Matthew Bartlett. Bartlett's going to go to the inside, I think. He just shows the nose, but no space available for the nose of the number 6 there to get to the number 8 and offset that line a little bit. That gap has closed, by the way, still between Charles Wolf and Tom Sanders. So I think it's the elevation section that's starting to throw off Tom Sanders a little bit. Charles might be a little bit better in the, dare I say, effectively second sector. Because the last time by, Charles was 2 tenths of a second faster. Tom, oh my goodness, hard on the brakes is Gonzalez and Wolf. 2 laps to go this time by. And this is the main battle on the track for now. Look at Gonzalez trying to just set himself offline. Maybe trying to play a few mind games there. Maybe trying to break the toe between himself and Tony Walsh from behind, but from about a 1 second gap, I don't think there's not going to be too much slipstream the game, as Ciucimelli and Kramer swap positions. Kramer up to 13th. So next time by the start finish line, it will be 1 lap to go. It is not time plus 1 lap. So once that timer hits 0, it is just the final lap. So effectively, the next time the leader crosses the start finish line, it is the last lap. Currently, it's 2 laps to go. Does Jesse Gonzalez try and go for a move? He does. Shows the nose to the inside. Not able to get there, though. In the background, Mullins and Bartlett are battling amongst themselves. And still nothing there just yet. Positions could still change, much like between Christopher Paez and Matt Burgess, as Burgess will hang it around the outside. A little bit of contact with Christopher Paez. They still maintain the same direction. They still face forward. Meanwhile, 8 seconds ahead is Nicholas Shepard. This time by for Shepard with 30 seconds left on the clock. It will be the final lap this time by. Meanwhile, off in the background for second place, it's going to be a battle, well, for second place between 3 different drivers, but it could be 2 drivers. Gonzalez is a little bit farther back, but we've seen how side-by-side battles have brought in many, many different drivers earlier on. The question is, can any of them make a move here on each other? Could Gonzalez make a move on Wolf, or could Wolf make a move on Sanders? We'll be keeping an eye on that 8-second gap with Nicholas Shepard and the speed as well that he is running. He should be fine. Should be. Not everything is all said and done as of yet, but for now, we'll be sticking with this potential battle for second place, especially if they go side by side. This could be a prime passing opportunity here, as going absolutely super defensive is Tom Sanders. Wolf tries to go around the outside, both hard on the brakes. Does Wolf go for the switchback? He'll try. Hangs it around the outside, nothing there. Parks it on the apex as Sanders maintains and protects that second place spot. Wolf all over the gearbox of Tom Sanders, trying to get that second place spot. He does have at least 1 more opportunity here, maybe if not 2 more. He's just going to sit right on top of the back bumper here, though. Meanwhile, up ahead, it is Nicholas Shepard. He'll be rounding out the 6th win in a row for himself, as the battle for second looks to be over. Rounding out the final corner for a 6th win in a row, 7th on the season, Nicholas Shepard wins at Mid-Ohio. Second place after a stellar defense is Tom Sanders. Charles Wolf, it does stay in 3rd place. He holds off Jesse Gonzalez. And 5th place is Tony Wallace. And what a run that was. Battle's still going through, though, here. Christopher Paez will round out the 10th place spot, holding off Matt Burgess and Logan Senhauser. But what a absolute drive by Nicholas Shepard. Not only this race, but just this season. I believe this would unofficially pretty much wrap up the championship for him in terms of the quite literal iRacing championship for this season. Especially now that drop weeks are starting to get involved, I believe it would pretty much go down to Nicholas Shepard for sure. But we see why now, the performance that he put in for this race, and absolutely set the timing charts alight in terms of just creating a gap between himself and, well, everybody else. But let's not count out Tom Sanders here with his defense of that second place spot, going ultra defensive, manages to hold on to second place, especially through some challenging sections like right here as he takes this cooldown lap. This is a problematic section for him in a little bit of a sense, as the laps had started to wind down, but he did hold strong and maintain that second place spot by the end of the day. So what a fantastic drive by Tom Sanders. go ahead and bring up the finishing results on your screen here. Nicholas Shepard rounding out the first place position for the seventh place for the seventh win in a row. An absolutely fantastic drive by Shepard. Sanders finishes in second. Third place, Charles Wolf. Fourth place, Jesse Gonzalez. And fifth place was Tony Wallace. Sixth place was Matt Mullen. Seventh place, Matthew Bartlett. Eighth place is Ian Bertolucci. Ninth place, John Miller III. And 10th place was Christopher Paez. And then the next 10 drivers we have are Matt Burgess rounding out the 11th place spot. Logan Senhauser finishing in 12th. Kevin Kramer 13th. Frankie Sugamelli finishes 14th. John Myers 15th. Aaron Reynolds rounding out the 16th place spot. Mark Kruger 17th. 18th place is Jacob Mraz. Justin Reynolds finishes 19th. And 20th should be Reed Shannonbrook. Not sure why that's displaying out of order, but Reed Shannonbrook does finish in 20th. 21st is Daniel DeLiberti. Michael Coates 22nd. 23rd, after a genuinely unfortunate and heartbreaking first lap incident, is Jean-Francois St. Pierre. Also, very late apologies, but we have just noticed that the graphics were not up on the screen throughout the entire race, so apologies for that. They were there, they just weren't there, if that makes sense. So, hopefully, with enough descriptions of how much time was left, worked as an impromptu background a little bit, and this is why I read everything out, just in case. So, apologies for the lack of graphics, but hopefully the racing action did make up for that. We'll have that adjusted for next week in terms of not having those disappear. And speaking of next week, we head to the last race of the season, and that is going to be the Oran Park Raceway. What a season this has been so far, and what a race we have for you in store for next week, rounding out the last week of the season 3 2025. Nope, season 4 2025, I believe. I should know this by now. Season 3. I'm jumping ahead. I'm thinking up too early of next season already. Next season, season 4. But currently, this race finishes up season 3 2025 of the Heusinkveld, the Advanced Mazda MX-5 series presented by Heusinkveld. And again, shout out to Heusinkveld for jumping on board. That was, at least for me, pretty much out of nowhere. So it's good to see that more sim products are jumping on board to sponsor these races as well. So it's absolutely fantastic to see. And we still have one more race to go, and what a race it will be, especially considering that after that, it's the Season 4 build, and that's going to be fun in its own right as well. But we will see you all next week at the Oran Park Raceway. A little bit of an early morning race as well, in the sense of Australian time. The land down under. I'll go ahead and see you for the last 30-minute race of the season, and we will see you all next week in Oran Park.